Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about if you should climb the corporate ladder at your job. So hear me out. If you have a dream, if it's your life's goal or mission in life to be a chief financial officer, a chief marketing officer, or an executive or some corporate position that makes a lot of money, then yes, go right ahead. Go climb the corporate ladder. Go ahead, spend all that time working for the company, making connections, doing your thing, and go for it, right? Now, should you climb the corporate ladder to a certain degree? Yes. So, should you maybe take 3 or 4 promotions? Yes, right? Why? Because if you promote a little bit, right? If you get to a certain level where, let's say, you've got promoted 3 or 4 times, now you're making $100,000 a year, right? With that $100,000, you'll unless you got like 4 kids or you have a crazy amount of expenses, you'll be able to put away some money at the end of each month, right? Making that amount of money. So what can you do with an extra let's say $2,000 to $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month? Well, hey, guess what? You can use that money to invest. You can buy assets. You can buy education. You can buy courses. You can learn how to make money outside of your job, So is it worth it to climb the corporate ladder for a little bit, for a little while, to progress into or to transition into something else? Yes. Now, you don't have to want to be an entrepreneur. You might not want to be an investor, but hey, guess what? With that extra $2,000 or $3,000 you're making a month, hey, I can learn I can go to trade school now. Maybe I can go back to college if I want to do something that's gonna make me a lot of money, and something that I'm really passionate about. Could be computer science, could be doctor, lawyer, etc. Right? So yes, I think it's worth climbing the corporate ladder to an extent. Maybe let's say, hey, you get that first position that pays you between $80,000 and $100,000 a year, right? Work that position for 2 or 3 years. While you're working that position, you're investing monthly into education or assets. You're buying assets, and hey, guess what? While you're working that job, working between maybe 40 and 50 hours a week, when you get home, you're studying to create you're studying in your off time to create the life that you want, to transition into the real profession or to transition into your true calling, right? So I think a lot of people get it twisted in terms of, hey, like, I'm just here at this job working my way up. But if you really don't desire to be like ahead of like the chief financial officer or an executive DR or like the vice president, then I really don't think it's worth it to do all of that, right? So for example, I have this guy named Frank. He's like a director in our company. He's a director of operations. And he makes somewhere between like $200,000 and $300,000 a year, right? Give or take. So that's good money, right? I'm not saying that's really good money, right? But guess how long he's been with the company? He's been with the company for 20 years. So think about it, right? Someone like him. Now, like I said, I'm not saying everyone's going to be an entrepreneur, but someone like him who's making, good money, $200,000, $300,000, that's like the top like 10% of earners in the country. So he's doing well, right? But he's been there 20 years. So it's like, ask yourself, are you really willing to sit there for 20 years, go through all the hoops and struggles and everything that comes with your job just to be, just to hold a director position or a vice president position? I mean, yeah, it might sound cool. The title may have some appeal to it, but is it really what you want to do? Is it really gonna make you happy? And like I said, I'm not saying that your true calling or the thing you really have a knack for is going to be easy all the time, or you're not going to have days where you don't want to do it. But is it something that you can sustain? Can you really sit there and work that job for 20 years? And I had a conversation with myself about this the other day because, obviously I'm making progress in my company as well, but do I really want to move up like that much more? No, I don't. I might take like 1 or 2 more promotions and then that's it. I'm not moving from there. I'm gonna just, like I said, invest that money, work on my side hustle, and transition into what I really want to do, right? Which is coach people. right? Coach men. So if I'm sitting there wanting to be, Mr. CEO or Mr. Vice President, and I have to ask myself, like I said, am I willing to do this job for another 10, 15, 20 years? And the answer is no. Like I said, for me, it's no. For you, maybe it is. But, one thing I can say is that if you're making minimum wage hey, like you just, you don't like your job. Like, let's say you work at Walmart, you work at McDonald's, you work at a gas station, you work at, you work at like a clothes store or something. If you don't like it, I get it. You're making minimum wage, they don't pay well. Take promotions in the meantime. If you really don't know what you want to do, strive to make more money in the meantime. Like I said, you want to try to hit that between that $80,000 and $100,000 a year mark. From that position, right? From that position of where you're making that kind of money, you're minimizing your expenses, you're not being a crazy consumer, you're not going out spending money like a dummy. From that position, now, hey, guess what? I'm not working, 2 jobs anymore. I'm not working 80 hours a week, right? I'm making between, I'm a salary employee. I'm making between $80,000 and $100,000 a year. So the most I might work is 50, 55 hours, but it's okay. I still have my evenings. I still have my weekends. Okay, now with this extra free time, what can we do? We can journal. We can ask ourselves deep questions. We can ask ourselves what our strengths are, what we feel like we want to do. We can get clear on that. But once we have those resources, now we can begin to spend money on creating that life that we want, creating that vision, creating that career or job or whatever we want to do. We can start creating that in the off time. But if you're working minimum wage, right, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's going to be and you're working 60, 70 hours a week, just to make overtime so you can make ends meet. It's going to be kind of hard to sit there and really figure out what you really want to do, because you don't have time to yourself. You don't have any time to sit there and spend in solitude. So I think it's a good idea to take promotions for a little while, especially if you're young, if you're in your early 20s, right, mid 20s, and even into your later 20s, depending on, how late you've been improving your life. But it's worth it to an extent. Like I said, if you don't want to be a chief financial officer, vice president, executive, totally understandable. But you need to have money at the end of every month to be able to put away and to be able to use, to deploy it to assets and things that are going to help you figure out what you can really do as a career for the rest of your life. Because guys, like I said, we're going to have to work, right? Whether we like it or not, we're going to have to work, whatever, there's going to be things we don't want to do, whether it's in our favorite career position or not, or our dream life, our dream job, or our business or not. So understand that, if I'm here at Walmart, or if I'm at Macy's, or I'm at McDonald's, or I'm at 7-Eleven, hey man, I don't like this job. I hate it. I don't like the employees. But hey man, let me promote for a little bit. Let me get my money right. And then with that extra money that I have at the end of every month, okay, now let's begin to create the life we want, right? But like I said, it's gonna be hard to do that living paycheck to paycheck. So yeah, if you're at one of these retail-like jobs and you're not making the kind of money you want, or it's you barely have enough money at the end of every month to invest, start trying to get promoted. Get promoted for a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years. And then with that extra money, you can, like I said, buy education, invest in assets, and then there you go, right? Now, I'm not saying life's gonna be easy after that, but it's gonna be a lot easier than working 80 hours a week with a $14 wage, right? So whether we realize it or not, guys, inflation is kicking everyone's ass. It's going to continue to kick everyone's ass. So if you're not aligning your life with things that are going to be valuable, like, because, a trade is always going to be there, right? People are always going to need things. Things are always going to need to be repaired. Mechanics are always going to be needed. Plumbers are always going to be needed. Electricians, AC, all of these trades are going to be needed 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 300 years from now. Lawyers are going to be needed. Doctors are going to be needed. Definitely computer scientists. So you have to align your life with, or your mission, your calling, or your dream career with what's going to be valuable in the long run. Because like I said, guys, working like minimum wage going into like 2030 and beyond you're gonna go extinct, right? Because like I said, self-checkouts are coming online more now. So AI, right? So it's like, you really could, if you're not careful, you don't really decide, hey man, really decide what you're gonna do and stick to it, you cannot afford to just work minimum wage for the rest of your life. And like I said, it's easy in the moment, but it's gonna be harder as we progress. Because like I said, AI is coming online, jobs are gonna start getting replaced. Not all jobs, like I said, I'm sure we'll still have some people working these minimum wage jobs 5, 10, 15 years from now. But do you really wanna risk being replaced by a fucking piece of technology? I don't. That's embarrassing. That would make me feel embarrassed, right? So align your life, align your career, align your business or whatever you feel like you wanna do with something that's gonna last for hundreds of thousands of years, right? Like, we're always gonna need coaches. We're always gonna need people to influence people, to motivate people, to be authors. We're always gonna need, like I said, consultants, computer scientists, people in trades, right? So those are always gonna be needed. Those fields are always gonna be required to keep society going. But hey man, that cashier at Publix or that cashier at McDonald's, I don't know if we're gonna need you in 20 years. And like I said, it's not to say that those humans are not valuable. Like I said, because I worked those types of jobs before, but are we gonna need you in 10, 15 years when we can cut our costs with AI and self-checkouts? So you guys, you gotta, like I said, it's okay if you're doing that now, especially if you're young, but moving forward, man, like, we gotta start thinking of ways to really have a sustainable life and career or business and not be replaced, right? Because the last thing you want to do, the last thing you want to be is someone who's replaceable. You want to be so good that it's really difficult to replace you. So even if you do work a minimum wage job, be the best at it so it's hard to replace you, right? So yeah, I know I kind of went on a little rant there at the end, but I think you guys get the point. Climb the corporate ladder for a little while if you need to, but if it's your dream, go ahead and go all the way. But that's my take on climbing the corporate ladder and if you should or shouldn't. So yeah, that's it. That's all, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. And as always, I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.